Where do you think you're going, Twinkle Toes?
Fuck you, Edward.
You can't write this kind of stuff.
Oh yeah!
So for today's video, I thought it would be cool to go back and talk about a show that I felt rarely gets any kind of recognition. Well, barely. With that being the show that came out on the Cartoon Network channel in the mid-2005 era, with shows like My Gym Partner is a Monkey and Life and Times of Juniper Lee and Robot Boy. Well, yeah, Robot Boy.
Yeah, I sold tickets to a bunch of little kids and then spent the money on candy, you know, for training purposes.
That wasn't too bad of a show, I guess. Well, Foster's Home was still airing at least on the network, so at least we had that. But that's aside the point. These were pretty much the shows that were all on the rise and were just trying to take over. Well, until Ben 10 came out later that same year and just obliterated the competition with all its merchandise and toys and fans it was gathering and just taking over the network, so the network felt more inclined to show Ben 10 more and more so they can get some of that sweet, sweet money. So the show Camp Lazlo, well, what did I think of the show? Well, to be honest, it was actually one of my favorite cartoons growing up in the 2000s. I just really enjoyed its writing, great characters, and all-around humor the show possessed. It had a wonderful art style of autumn colors of browns and reds and oranges. No, not the fucking fruit. I'm talking about the color orange. Well, it really worked out quite nice, and it gave it that very unique feel to it. I love the season of autumn. Hey, I wish it could be freaking autumn all year round. To be honest with you, maybe a few months of winter, throw that in there, it'd be okay. But back to the show Camp Lazlo, though. The show was created by the man himself, known as Joe Murray. Now, who the hell is Joe Murray, you might be asking? Well, a lot might know Joe Murray from his previous creation of the show Rocko's Modern Life that aired on Nickelodeon in like 1993 or something. You know, it had lots of adult humor and many innuendos, which was way ahead of its time, really. Just caught a lot of kids off guard. Like in that episode when we found out that Mrs. Bighead is trying to have an affair with Rocko, ain't no kids expecting that kind of stuff.
It's a shipwreck!
What are you doing?
The show Camp Lazlo wasn't as adult-written or risque cause Joe Murray knew he had to dial it back a touch. Even though the show still had its more mature moments from time to time.
I really enjoyed seeing my parents, and everyone else's parents are so great too. But I'm suddenly not able to enjoy the moment as much since Lumpus's parents didn't show up.
So the basis for this show was pretty simple. You had three main characters, Lazlo, Raj, and Clam of the summer camp, having lots of wacky and zany adventures alongside many other scouts their age, with stuff like boys versus girls and how to defy authority and how just to be a kid and have a big ass blast at a wonderful summer camp. Joe Murray decided that he thought it would be cool to try to create a cartoon based around summer camp and all things related, because he said a lot of these new shows and cartoons were just being way high-tech and stuff, and he just wanted to go back to more of the simpler times and just try to create a show that had a more simplistic vibe to it. You know, Joe Murray, he attended summer camp for like 5 years straight, and it was just something that he was very passionate about and he had a lot of fond memories of. So Joe Murray would try to bring some of his past experiences to life and, you know, in the form of an animated series that he would title Camp Lazlo, which the main title he pitched for the show was actually called Three Beans, but it was changed to Camp Lazlo because it sounded more catchy and less like a type of salad.
Hi Lazlo, what you doing?
Do you really want to know?
So you got the main character of the show, and that would be Lazlo, this upbeat, hyperactive, positive-centric spider monkey. And although a lot of people try to draw parallels with how Lazlo seems to act very similar to SpongeBob, this freaking sponge on Nickelodeon, so no, that's kind of partially true, but with Lazlo being a lot more open-minded and way more mature, especially since Lazlo is still a kid in this show, somewhere around the age of 12, and SpongeBob is a damn grown-ass man for God's sake, you know, and he's just going overboard and just wants to drive everyone around him crazy in his fucking pineapple under the sea and just make Squidward want to commit suicide. You know, Lazlo is often very outgoing and just trying to have as much fun as possible, but he is very loyal and cares deeply for his two best friends, Raj and Clam. So for the second main character that you got in the show, you got Raj the elephant. Raj, who was the foreign character of this trio, because back then in a cartoon, you always had to have this character that was kind of foreign and sounded all, you know, mistaken, like, hello, my name is Mr. Periwinkle. I'm from Britain. Hooray! You know, we just gotta have people like that. He would usually be the kind of guy who was very worried and get very scared very easily, although he deems himself to be very mature and brave. But a lot of times it's Lazlo's crazy antics that help him overcome his fears and makes him become a wiser and better person. You also got Clam. Clam is often that character who just repeats the last thing that he heard another character say.
What is it, Raj?
It's a cheese wheel.
Cheese wheel!
The setting of the show takes place at, guess where? Where you think it takes place? At a summer camp. It's freaking Camp Lazlo. Well, it takes place at a camp called Camp Kidney, if you must know. A somewhat run-down dump of a camp with some faulty, shitty-ass facilities, and is led by the rough and tough scoutmaster, Lumpus. Lumpus being this ill-mannered, angry moose who ain't got no time for people getting in his way of his me time, who for the most part can't stand Lazlo, but deep down, you know he really cares. There's also Lumpus's assistant Slinkman, this banana slug, who is found to be pretty likable, and you know, he has some real funny lines from time to time. You know, being voiced by Tom Kenny, we know he ain't gonna disappoint.
Good morning, campers.
You've gone mad!
All the kids at camp are separated into groups of 3, and each squad gets to name their cabin based off the various types of beans in order to keep the tradition of Camp Kidney strong. Like you have the jelly cabin for the main trio, cause Lazlo decided to name their cabin after the jelly bean. Cause yeah, fuck it, that's the best kind of bean out there. Who trying to kid? The scouts at camp are referred to as Bean Scouts, but the main trio is known as the Jelly Trio, cause that name just slaps ass. The other cabins include the likes of Pinto, Fava, and others. There is also a nearby camp known as Acorn Flats, where the Squirrel Scouts all attend. Who the hell are the Squirrel Scouts? Well, the Squirrel Scouts are all the female children of the camp. The camp with slightly nicer facilities, and they're led by their scoutmaster known as Jane Doe, who is this female deer-based character. The 3 main Squirrel Scouts that would appear most of the time throughout the episodes would be Gretchen the alligator, you had this giraffe character named Mina, and you also had this mongoose girl named Patsy, who had a big crush on Lazlo, and which he was oblivious to. But Patsy, I found out, was voiced by Jodie Benson, who also voiced Ariel from The Little Mermaid, which, you know, that's pretty interesting. Can't you just picture Patsy singing songs like this one?
What's a fire and why does it, what's the word, burn?
You also have other characters of Camp Kidney, don't worry, I didn't forget, like Edward, this fucking platypus, and he was this bitch ass dude and he couldn't stand Lazlo and he was always trying to pull some sort of prank on him, even though he rarely succeeded. I don't think he ever succeeded, except for that one time Lazlo felt bad for him, and Lazlo was just a cool guy. He let himself get pranked so somebody would feel better about themselves. Man, what a guy.
What are you talking about?
You also have the characters of Chip and Skip, these 2 dung beetles of the show, who are pretty much the comic relief morons of the show. You got Samson. Well, he's this guinea pig fucking gray bitch wearing glasses, and yeah, we skipping that hoe, you dang rodent. I got nothing to say about you. Man, fucking Samson.
Mr. Slingman, watch me catch the bug.
There was Nurse Leslie, the camp nurse, who a lot of people couldn't tell if the nurse was supposed to be a male or a female, but it was confirmed by Murray that Nurse Leslie is in fact a male. And don't forget that Commander Hoo-Ha. He was one of the most funniest badass dudes ever. This guy, this big ass buffalo dude, he would just show up out of nowhere and he'd be bossing Lumpus around and talking smack. You know, I just always got a kick out of that and just a good laugh. staff. You also have Chef McMuesli, the camp chef, and you don't want to say nothing bad about his food cause yeah, he just might snap.
That's it! You ingrates don't deserve my fine crafted cuisine! You know what you deserve? This! This is what you deserve! You want lunch? I'll give you lunch!
That's pretty much all the main characters and all the important characters that you need to know from the show Camp Lazlo. Now let's talk about the theme song. The theme song was composed by Andy Paley and features original camp songs of bluegrass and has that cowboy swing vibe to it. Paley, who is also responsible for some music in the series of SpongeBob SquarePants, including he's the guy that helped write the song Best Day Ever with vocals provided by Tom Kenny. The show was just so atmospheric and relaxing when I watched it. Another thing that I found pretty cool and interesting was on how the sky would be the color yellow instead of the ordinary blue. Just stuff like that and nicely designed backgrounds really meshed well together. As far as the sound effects being used, I can tell a lot of the ones used in Lazlo were also used in Murray's other show, Rocko's Modern Life, due to him just being a big fan of certain sounds. Just so much wonderful things to make you like the show with good writing and all. It all just meshed well together and just made a very outstanding cartoon. The series ended on March 27th, 2008 after it got its very own holiday special, the CN invasion happened, and heck, it even got a full featured length movie, which actually ended up winning an Emmy. So yeah, mad props to that. But something that still stands out for me until this day is on how the show of Camp Lazlo concluded, where we find out that Scoutmaster Lumpus was actually not the real Scoutmaster at all.
He is no Scoutmaster of Camp Kidney!
How did nobody really find out about this? Commander Hoo-Ha, you slacking, man. But that's pretty much all I gotta say about this very underrated and amazing cartoon. Camp Lazlo just deserved so much more recognition, and it was just a well-written and very fun, timeless show to watch. Tell me, what'd you guys think of the show Camp Lazlo? Did you enjoy it? Did you think it was bad? Or whatever? So until next time, remember to stay awesome and to take care. Cory out. Peace!